Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of this video. So, to assemble everything again, it's very simple. Just take all the steps backwards. I first install this upper shock tower. I install it without the shock. It's more light. On the hole, on the other hole, washer and nut. Come on, washer, where are you? There you go. Here you are. Sorry for this. It wasn't. Okay. Now I take my shock assembly. Be careful when you are exchanging your shocks. Do not remove the shock without compressing the spring. The spring it's very strong. Another thing that you have to have in mind is this shock, this part up here on the top, does not have a bearing, and you have to align very precisely these two studs with this piece here. If they are not aligned, it will be very difficult to align your fork. This is a little bit crooked, but it will do. I also have to clean these threads. Okay, so shock absorber. Another thing about shocks is you don't, at least in Portugal, when we do the MOT, it's an annual inspection. They do inspect the shocks, but they only matter the difference between shocks. They can both be all bad, but if they are exactly the same bad way, if I can say so, the car will pass. So not a big idea. Next thing I like to do, is to put the fork. I first connect the fork with the shock absorber, and only then I connect the fork with the lower control arm. So let's do this. I like to do it like this. Push it up, so it's close enough. Oh, that crookedness on the shock, it's killing me here. So I have to do some forcing. Okay. This bolt that goes across the lower control arm has three washers. One of the washer is next to the head of the bolt, and that crookedness of the. Sorry, guys. I will do another thing before that. Before this all goes wrong. So I put this bolt across here. The washer, the special washer, the special nut, the square nut, all by hand. So now the fork does not move down. We will talk about this fork in the shock absorber assembly next, because fuck. There are some adjustments you have to do. Sorry, it went better on my Portuguese video. So clean your. I will disassemble all of this again, because I have to do some other things. This is just for filming. So next, I have my upper. Yes, okay. So the hub assembly. I want to introduce the shaft and the ball joint almost at the same time. Shaft, ball joint. Okay, I hold it with my left hand, then I put the lower nut on the ball joint, okay, so this way it does not fall away. The center nut. Now you can, okay, if you want to do something about your shock, just your shock, you can disassemble this only as is and do your work on your fork and take out your shock absorber. But as I said earlier, this method of doing things, you can always stop in one place and do what you have to do. So if I want to, imagine that I'm starting now to disassemble everything. If you remember, I remove this and this and this and the brakes, and then I remove this nut, push up the arm, and this is all accessible to do the work that is required. Okay, I don't have to disassemble absolutely everything to do one simple thing. I just want to show you one method of reaching everything, and you can stop this method and at any time to reach what you desire. Okay? Okay, so I was just checking the time. This nut, someone just said that in some movie or something. The ABS sensor goes right here, in here, in the hole. You then have the 10mm, where is it? Oh my god, so much stuff. It's somewhere, I think it's this one. I know every one of them by heart, but I just want to show you. You put this screw on the sensor, ABS sensor. Like I said, I will disassemble this everything again to do other stuff. Next thing you can do is put your brakes on, like this. Okay. Tighten this to 7mm Allen key bolts. Then don't forget to install the spring. Very important for low noise and no vibrations. Vibrations not on the discs, but on the noise. Vibration of the caliper. Next, you can deal with this sway bar. But firstly, let me show you something. I have one thing I want to mention about your sway bar, and another thing I want to mention about your fork and shock absorber. First, we go to the sway bar. As we know, the Alfa 156, 147, and Alfa GT have some problems. I don't say it's problems, but whatever. With the upper and lower suspension. Also, if you have the best suspension ever, you will always have some noise. Some of that noise I already referred as this part here on the upper swing arm. But imagine you don't know where this problem is. You want to diagnose where is this noise coming from. It's not a play noise, it's just a rubbing noise. So one thing you can do, it's the one thing I do, you remove this part here, take it out to the side, on both sides of the car, and then with the strap, you lock it in place, like this. You cut this end here. If I don't know where is my plier. You cut this end. Damn it. And okay, now you have to be aware of two things. Now, if this bar drops on its own, the bushings on this bar are not good. You have at least one problem there. Even so, you want to test this. Try to leave the bar in the place where it won't smash the lower arm, I'm sorry. Even if you heard some kind of noise, of knocking noise, do not mind it, because you know it's this making the not knocking noise. You want to hear the rubbing sound, okay? If you remove temporarily, just temporarily, this bar, this sway bar, and you still heard that noise, that annoying noise of rubbing, the most likely thing is your upper swing arm, your upper suspension arm, on those bushings I told you about. If you remove this sway arm and the noise is completely away, then you know your problem is only on your sway bar. Now imagine, you have the noise, you remove this sway bar, and the noise changes a little bit, it decreases a little bit. I think you have a problem in the sway bar and on the upper swing arms. As soon as possible, reattach this sway bar. Okay, take this out, push it forward, and lock it here. Okay, and lock here the steering rack. There is another thing to finalize. I'm sorry about the length of this video, but it's a lot. When you assemble these two pieces, the shock absorber is doing a downward force, but also the weight of the suspension is doing a downward force. This means these two pieces are not together as they should be. Let me explain you. So if I can exaggerate a little bit. Sorry about the noise. Here I'm jacking up on the lower suspension arm, and you will see the bottom of the shock absorber hitting the inside of the fork to be constantly hitting or assembled with this shock. But as we know, these things have some play. You have the play of the bolt. So the part, this yellow part here that surrounds the bolt, has some space. And if you want to check this part here, when I jack up the jack, you will see, kind of, if I am doing this properly. Remember, everything is not tightened, so these things sometimes jam. Look at it. See? Did you see? Okay, this is very important for some reasons. The most important reason is both sides have to be the same. You don't want one side on the bottom and another side too far apart. In this way, this is a lot of movement, as you could see, and some different brands of shocks may have some different contact points. The contact point inside of the fork, I mean the contact point made in the shock may be different for the contact point built in the fork. If you have, imagine this contact point is okay now. In the left side, it's far apart. The car, as you park it in somewhere straight, the car is crooked. If you look at on the right side is more lowered than the left side. Not only it's, in my view, not a pretty sight, but it can be difficult to for alignment, and for sometimes for driving even. Another thing that I can see with my perspective is the car in this way, it's much lower. We can actually do a tuning on the lowering of these cars simply by choosing where we want the shock to be. I personally choose to be always on the most down position, so both parts can touch themselves. Because this is the part, the fork is the piece that receives all the shock. That's why the shock is here, right? If the fork is not connected physically with the shock, every time you hit holes and whatever, this shock is not transmitted directly. You have the transmission of shocks is not done by the base of the shock, is made by the body of the shock. And this may or may not damage the body of the shock. So what I recommend you to do is, when you are going to change your oil or do whatever you want to do on the floor or on the lift, if it is on the floor with the jack floor, you can do just what I did right now. If it is on the lift, you can do it with a taller jack, one of those used to take gearboxes out, for example, and just loosen this bolt here. Put down here. I don't know if you can see right here on the arm, something to do the upward movement. I said a jack, but it can be a pipe. And you want to, what you want is to hear this shock hitting the inside of the fork, to be exactly the same on both sides. That is the most important thing, to be exactly the same on both sides. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, this mini series of 2 episodes. I am thinking about doing a lot more of this stuff. I always did. I like to do my tutorial videos as well, but I also have a lot of things in mind. I have at least 2 restorations in mind to do, and I need a lot of support of you guys. Not what are you thinking, but I need moral support as well, because these things are expensive, as you know, and as I said earlier, I do this because I like the brand. I like Alfa Romeo a lot. It's a very big passion. It's almost like a disease, and I think so. But I like it. It gives me purpose. It gives me strength to sometimes wake up in the morning and I do this because I really like my brand, my Alfa Romeo. I also do the videos because I like helping people. I like people to understand what it is to work on a car, how difficult can it be, but also how simple as well can it be. Because unfortunately there are a lot of mistakes that happen because of lack of comprehension of some things, some ways of the cars. I will also make some videos about diagnosis. It's a very sensitive subject. A lot of people don't like this subject because they don't have a diagnosis machine. But there are things you can do, and diagnosis is not only made with the machine. You can do a lot of diagnosis without a machine, without tools, without nothing. You can do it by knowing things. That's why I'm here, to let you know things.